Hello everyone. So in this tutorial I'm going to teach you how to create Numpy array dimensions. Like for example a 1D Numpy dimension, a 2D Numpy dimension, a 3D Numpy dimension. So I want to show you how to create a Numpy dimension and also how to know the type of dimension in Numpy. So the first thing that you're going to do is that you're going to import Numpy. And to import Numpy, you're just going to say import Numpy as np. So after importing Numpy as np, so let's start by creating a 1D Numpy dimension. So to create a 1D Numpy dimension, we're just going to say, for example, arr1 is equals to np dot array. So when you say np dot array, then we are going to pass the array list. So for example, we're going to pass 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So after that we are going to close the bracket. So we are just going to say print arr1. Okay, so when we say print arr1, this will give us the dimension there. So when you run the file, it's going to give us the number of arrays. Okay, so to get the dimension type of this, we're just going to say arr.endim. That is a function that we use. So arr.endim will make us know the type of dimension that we have created. So when you run this file, that's a 1, it's going to give us 1, and 1 shows that it is a 1D dimension. Similarly, to create a 2D dimension, we are going to do the same process, and a 2D dimension is actually two 1D dimensions. So we are going to say arr1 is equals to np.array, and after saying np.array, then we are going to pass two 1D dimensions. So we are going to pass actually two 1D dimensions, and to pass two 1D dimensions, we first pass a full 1D dimension, then we pass through 1D dimensions inside it. So let's say 1, 2, 3. Okay, then after that we pass the other parameter. So then we pass 4, 5, 6. So this one, we have actually created a two 1D dimensions. So when we run this, so to run it, we are simply going to say print arr1 is arr1. Okay, so when we print arr1, it's going to say that these are two 1D dimension, and there's some error, sorry. So when we run it, it's going to say that it is actually a two 1D dimension. Okay, so forgot to close the bracket. So after closing the bracket and putting some comma, so now when you run it, it's going to print actually a 2D dimension. This is how a 2D dimension is. Similarly, if you want to know the dimension type, just write arr.end dimension, and arr.endim will give us the dimension type of actually that Numpy array. So when you run, it is going to say that it is a 2D Numpy dimension. Okay, similarly, if you want to create a 3D Numpy dimension, we just say arr1 is equals to np.array, and when you say np.array, we are actually initializing a Numpy array. So that's the way we say. So a 3D Numpy dimension is actually a 2D. It's actually a 2D dimension. A 2D dimension is actually what is a 3D dimension. So to create a 3D dimension, we need to create a 2D dimension. So to do that, we are going to first of all start by actually creating that 2D dimension. And to create a 2D dimension, we say that is 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's say, and another one as 1 as let's pass 4, 5, 6. Okay, so after passing 4, 5, 6, so this is actually a 1D dimension. Okay, so we pass some data. So these are 2D dimension. Okay, so because of the way it is. Okay, so these are 2D dimension. Then we create also another 2D dimension there, so that it can be a 3D dimension, because a 3D dimension is a 2D dimension. Okay, but this is just a 2D dimension, so we need to add another dimension there. So okay, so to add another dimension there, we just put a comma and we add more actually, so more values. Okay, so let's say 7, 8, 9. Okay, 7,8,9. Okay, and then we add more and more values. Okay, so 7,8,9, then let's say we are going to add let's say 10, 10,11,12. Okay, so 10,11,12. Okay, so this one here is another 2D dimension. Okay, so when you bracket it like this, now it becomes a 2D dimension, which will be a 3D dimension. And now to make them one a 3D dimension, we add another array at the end of it. So when you print it, it is going to be a 3D dimension. So when you say that we're going to print ARR1, it is now going to give us a 3D dimension. Okay, so when we run print, now we are going to have a 3D dimension. So as you can see it now, it is a 3D dimension because we have put it 2D dimensions, because 2D dimensions is what gives us a 3D dimension. And to attest that it is a 3D dimension, we are going to write arr1.end dimension. Okay, arr1.end dimension, which will prove that it is a 3D dimension. As you can see, that's a 3D dimension. Okay, so that's how we create dimensions in Numpy. Thank you and subscribe.